The kitchen was quiet, save for the soft hum of the dishwasher, when Emma burst in like a storm. She waved an envelope in the air like a victory flag, her eyes glittering with a cruel satisfaction I had never seen before. "Look what I got," she said, her voice thick with contempt. She slapped the envelope down on the counter between us. "DNA results. Want to explain why Dad doesn't show up as my biological father?" My hands froze in the sink, submerged in soapy water. Slowly, I dried them on a towel, buying precious seconds to steady my racing heart. I had known this day might come, but not like this. I hadn't expected the look of smug triumph on my daughter's face. "How long have you been lying to us?" Emma demanded, crossing her arms. "Does Dad even know? Or have you been playing him for a fool all these years, too?" I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice calm. Her face, so much like mine at that age, held none of the warmth I desperately needed from her now. "Sit down, Emma," I said gently. "This isn't a conversation we should have standing up." She scoffed but dropped into one of the kitchen chairs, still radiating fury. "Fine. Explain how you've been living a lie for the past 17 years. This should be good. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and my daughter had just unknowingly opened a door to a past I'd spent nearly 2 decades trying to keep shut. Not out of shame, but because some truths are too heavy for children to carry. Some stories need time. But Emma had forced my hand. I sat across from her, folding my hands on the table. "First, I need you to understand something. Everything I've done, every choice I've made, was to protect you and give you the best life I could." Emma rolled her eyes. Save the mom speech. "I want the truth." "The truth," I said, carefully, "is complicated. Before we go any further, I need to know, what are you hoping to accomplish with this? Do you want answers, or are you just trying to hurt me?" She faltered. Her confidence wavered. "I deserve to know who my real father is," she said, quieter now. "You do," I agreed, nodding slowly. "But not like this, not as a weapon. This family wasn't built on lies, Emma. It was built on love." She laughed bitterly. "What family? It's all fake." "No," I said firmly. "Your father, the man who raised you, who has loved you every single day he knows. He's always known." Her eyes widened, the narrative she'd crafted beginning to fall apart. "What?" "When David and I met, I was already pregnant," I said, watching her closely. "I was 22, scared, alone. He didn't have to stay. He didn't have to love us. But he chose to every single day." Emma's voice cracked. "But why didn't you tell me?" I reached across the table, grateful when she didn't pull away. "Because some stories need time. Because I needed you to be old enough to understand that family isn't just about DNA. It's about choice. It's about love." "Then who is my biological father?" she asked, her voice smaller now. I closed my eyes for a moment as the memories returned. "His name was Michael," I said softly. "And that's the part one was trying to protect you from." "I want to know," she said, her anger now replaced with something more vulnerable. "I need to know." I nodded, gathering myself. "I met Michael in college. He was charming, ambitious. I thought I was in love. We dated for almost a year before I found out I was pregnant." Emma leaned in, hanging on every word. "When I told him, he made it clear he wasn't ready. He had plans, law school, a future that didn't include a baby. He told me to take care of it. When I refused, he disappeared." "Just like that," she whispered. "Just like that," I echoed. "I tried to reach out. He blocked my number, changed his email. His parents, your biological grandparents, they offered me money to keep quiet." "Did you take it?" "No," I said firmly. "I didn't want their money. I wanted to give you a life filled with love, not secrets and shame. I dropped out of college, moved home, started working 2 jobs to prepare for you." Emma was silent, absorbing it all. Then, quietly, "How did you meet Dad?" A small smile touched my lips. "I was 7 months pregnant, working at a coffee shop. Exhausted. David was a regular, kind, always tipping well. One day, I nearly fainted taking his order. He sat me down, brought me water, and waited until my shift ended. After that, he kept checking on me, brought me snacks, talked to me like I mattered, and he didn't care that you were pregnant. He said it was like getting 2 miracles for the price of one," I said, tears stinging my eyes. We married when you were 6 months old. He insisted on legally adopting you. Said he wanted the world to know you were his daughter in every way that counted. The kitchen was still. Emma's face softened, her expression unreadable. I'm sorry, she whispered at last, tears slipping down her cheeks. I thought I was exposing some terrible secret. I've been so angry lately and I didn't know why. I wanted to hurt you. I walked around the table and pulled her into my arms. She clung to me, her body trembling. You're 17, sweetheart. Being angry is part of growing up. But next time, talk to me. Ask me. Don't try to rewrite our history without knowing the story. She nodded into my shoulder. Does Dad? She began, her voice muffled. And I held her closer, ready to answer the rest. Is he going to be mad about the DNA test? Emma asked, her voice shaky, her head resting against my shoulder. No, I said softly, stroking her hair. He's always known this day would come. We both did. We just hoped you'd come to us first, so we could tell you the story together when you were ready to hear it. I want to hear it, Emma whispered, pulling back to wipe her eyes. All of it. And I want Dad here too. I smiled and reached for my phone. I'll call him. But before dialing, I gently touched her arm. Emma, remember how you felt just now. Remember how different the truth was from what you imagined. The stories we tell ourselves about other people's choices, they're rarely as simple as they seem. As I dialed David's number, I watched Emma settle back into her chair, the DNA results left forgotten on the counter. She looked smaller somehow, younger. Like the little girl who used to crawl into our bed during thunderstorms, clutching her stuffed bear. David picked up on the second ring. Hey, love. Everything okay? Emma took a DNA test, I said simply. It's time. For that conversation. There was a pause. Then his steady, warm voice came through. I'll be home in 20 minutes. We'll do this together, like we always have. I hung up and looked over at Emma, whose eyes were red-rimmed but calmer. He's on his way, I told her. Are you ready to hear the whole story? She nodded, her expression softer now. Yeah, I think I am. Exactly 20 minutes later, David's familiar footsteps echoed through the house. I saw Emma stiffen slightly, her earlier bravado gone. He stepped into the kitchen, still in his work clothes, his eyes immediately finding hers. Hey, sweetheart, he said gently, setting his briefcase down. Your mom told me. Emma's lip trembled. Dad, But before she could finish, David crossed the room and pulled her into a hug. It's okay, he murmured into her hair. We've been waiting for this day. I just wish you felt like you could come to us first. I didn't know how, she whispered. I watched them, my heart full of love for the man who had chosen us, and never once made Emma feel anything less than his entire world. When they finally pulled apart, David kept his arm around her as he sat beside her. So, he said gently, looking at both of us, where should we start? Mom told me about meeting you, Emma said. About how you chose us. David smiled at me. Best decision I ever made. But there's more, isn't there? She asked, turning to me. About Michael. I nodded. Yes. You deserve the full truth now. Even the parts we've tried to protect you from. Emma's eyes widened slightly. What do you mean? I took a deep breath, feeling David's quiet strength beside me. When you were 5, Michael came back. Her head snapped up. What? He showed up at our door. I said, the memory still vivid. He'd seen a photo of you at his parents' house. They'd been keeping tabs on us through mutual friends, though I didn't know it at the time. What did he want? He said he'd made a mistake, that he'd grown up. He had a career, a wife, a stable life, but something was missing. You. David's jaw tightened, but his voice was calm. I remember wondering what you told him. I reached out, taking Emma's hand. I told him he lost the right to be your father the day he walked away. That being a parent isn't something you do when it's convenient. It's showing up. It's staying. That's what your dad did. Every moment. Every day. Emma blinked, her voice barely a whisper. Did he fight you? David answered. He threatened to. Said he could take us to court, prove paternity, demand custody. What did you do? She asked. We fought back, I said. We had years of documented abandonment. David had legally adopted you. And more importantly, We weren't going to let anyone put you through a custody battle just because Michael decided he was ready. David added gently. Eventually, he backed off. I think he realized it would hurt everyone, especially you. But he asked one thing, I continued, that when you were old enough, we'd tell you the truth. That he regretted walking away. That he wanted you to know he never stopped thinking about you. Emma sat quietly, absorbing it all. Then she asked, Do you know where he is now? David and I exchanged a glance. Yes, I said. He's still in the area. He owns a law firm downtown. He's married. He has 2 other children. My half-siblings, she whispered, as if testing the words aloud. Biologically, yes, David said. But Emma, just because someone shares your DNA doesn't mean they have a place in your life. That's your choice, if or when you're ready. Emma looked up at him, her eyes full of tears. But you'll always be my real dad, right? David pulled her close again, his voice thick with emotion. Always, sweetheart. Nothing will ever change that. I watched them together, memories rushing back, the first time David held her in his arms, his eyes full of awe, her tiny feet stumbling toward him, the bedtime stories, the scraped knees and proud smiles, a lifetime of love built one moment at a time. I feel so stupid, Emma whispered, wiping at her tears. You're not, I said gently. You're just learning. The truth isn't always easy, but it's real. And now we face it together. I thought I was going to expose this huge scandal, Emma said, her voice fragile with guilt. But instead, I began gently meeting her eyes. Instead, I learned that family is more complicated and more beautiful than just biology, she finished, her voice barely above a whisper. I smiled, brushing her hair back from her face. That love is a choice we make every single day. David stepped closer, his voice steady and kind. And this DNA test, it doesn't change who we are. It doesn't erase our history or the love we've poured into raising you. If anything, it just confirms what I've always known. Choosing to be your father was the greatest gift of my life. Emma looked down at the envelope still resting on the counter. Her hand trembled as she picked it up. Can we throw this away? I don't need it anymore. Tears welled in my eyes. Of course. We watched silently as she tore the envelope in half, then into quarters, and dropped the pieces into the trash. There was something in her face as she did it, a kind of release, a quiet peace settling into place. Mom, Dad, she said softly, I'm sorry for trying to hurt you with this, for not trusting you enough to just ask. We understand, I told her, placing my hand over hers. Growing up means asking hard questions. It means wondering about your past, about who you are. But next time, come to us first. We never wanted to hide anything, we just wanted to wait until you were ready for the truth. David nodded. And now that everything's out in the open, we can talk about what you want to do next. If you ever have questions about Michael, your biological father, your heritage, we'll help you find those answers. On your terms. When you're ready. Emma shook her head gently. I don't think I want to know. Not right now. Maybe someday. She looked between us, her eyes softer now. But today, I just want to be with my real family. We sat there in the quiet of the kitchen, warm light spilling in through the windows, holding space for each other. The tension had lifted. The walls between us had crumbled. What was meant to divide had instead become a bridge. One built on trust, honesty, and love. Later that night, after Emma had gone to bed, David and I sat together on the back porch, the stars stretching out above us. His arm was around my shoulders, steady and familiar. You okay? He asked softly. I leaned into him. Better than okay. I think this needed to happen. Maybe not the way it did, but Emma needed the truth. She's stronger than we give her credit for. David chuckled. Just like her mother. I looked up at him, this man who had walked into our lives and stayed, who had loved us with quiet, unwavering devotion. Thank you, I whispered, for everything. For loving her, for loving me. He pulled me closer. Thank you for letting me, for trusting me with both of your hearts. Inside, we could hear Emma shuffling around her room, preparing for bed. That sound, the ordinary rhythm of our life, was the most precious thing in the world to me. Do you think she'll want to meet him someday? I asked quietly. David was silent for a moment, thoughtful. Maybe. And if she does, we'll be there for her. But I think today taught her something important, that the truth doesn't always look the way we expect. And sometimes the family we choose is stronger than the one we're born into. I nodded, feeling something deep inside me settle. The secret I had carried for so long was no longer a secret, and somehow that clarity made everything feel lighter. Our family wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was built on the choices we made every day to show up, to love, to stay. Emma's DNA test, meant to pull us apart, had only drawn us closer. It reminded her, and us, that family isn't about shared blood. It's about shared life. It's about the people who weather the storms with you, who hold you through the hardest truths, and who build something lasting, not from biology, but from love. As David and I sat beneath the stars, I thought about the path that had led us here. Every uncertain step, every moment of doubt, of faith, of choosing love even when it wasn't easy. And I knew with absolute certainty we had built something extraordinary. A family, not by chance, but by choice.